Welcome to another update from Doc's booth. Our rappers are halfway through their 6-week window, in which they must produce 3 theme songs on 3 fixed beats. But where did those beats come from? We are fortunate to have a couple of very talented producers on board for the competition, and both with links to the Reniverse too. Let me introduce them. First up is Vintage Even Star. Vintage got her start producing music this past year after being inspired by Ren Gill and Jointdale Records. She produced her first beat for a remix contest held on Ren's Discord, when she mixed Ren's Insomnia vocals onto her beat. Vintage has since released 11 Ren remixes on her YouTube channel, all on her beats, and has collaborated with other artists and creators. Vintage is also a visual artist who does abstract painting and shares her art and music on her Instagram. She is currently working on an instrumental EP.
Vexo is an emerging independent recording artist who made his wide distribution solo debut in 2023 with the single, Moonbeams. That song introduced a multi-talented beatmaker and sample-based producer with unique style and technique. At a time when other artists are content to download pre-made loops, he's going old school. Digging down deep in the record bins, the avid sampler finds inspiration for his genre-fluid mix of modern and classic hip-hop, EDM, and trip-hop. In addition to his solo work, the prolific producer has created countless beats for rappers and singers around the world. In anticipation of his forthcoming debut LP, Vexo has dropped a series of original music videos on his YouTube channel. Checkmate is a recent single and video from Vexo, released worldwide via his YouTube channel. Japanese mandolins and movie samples ride a laid-back boom-bap beat on this chilled Wu-Tang style groove. The track pairs a 90s hip-hop aesthetic with a classic kung fu vibe, and a touch of spaghetti western. Vexo also entered Ren's Down on the Beat challenge, where he used samples from Ren's Violet's Tale and High Ren, as well as Before the Beginning by John Frusciante.
So, where is Vintage from? She says, I was born and raised in Florida, and I've been fortunate enough to travel all over the US and to Canada, Costa Rica, Jamaica, Mexico and Puerto Rico. I'm really hoping to make it over to Europe soon. And what is her musical background? Vintage writes, I've always been in love with music, dance and art. We had a record player when I was really young, and my favorite album to listen and dance to was Michael Jackson's Thriller. We had a piano at home, and I loved listening to a song and figuring out how to play the melody on the piano by ear. I messed around with any drum set I could get my hands on, and I learned the alto saxophone in middle school. In high school, I had a friend who was a DJ and would spend hours listening to him putting together his sets. I got to mess around on his turntables with mostly break beats and hip-hop records, and I especially loved scratching. From around that time, I wanted to learn how to make beats, but it stayed a dream for many years as life as a grown-up kind of got in the way. Then last year I found Ren's music, which really ignited a fire in me. This past November, I was inspired to get a keyboard and teach myself to play. That turned into me teaching myself music production and starting a YouTube channel to share my creative journey and hopefully inspire others to follow their passions.
And where is Vexo from? He says, I am originally from Romania, but I moved to the United States after finishing high school. I went to college and got a job in the States. But music has always been my passion and I spend most of my free time on it. And what is his musical background? Vexo writes, I have been making music for more than 15 years. I mainly create hip-hop, but I occasionally dabble in other genres. A close second would be house music. More recently, I became a lot more sample-based as a producer and have been trying to incorporate as much of the art of sampling as possible into my craft.
What are Vintage's biggest musical influences? She writes, I'm really a lover of all music genres, but especially 90s to mid-2000s hip-hop and rave, techno, EDM, reggae, 80s, 90s pop and alternative and singer-songwriter kind of music. I think I'm probably most influenced by artists and music that I feel a connection to. At the top of that list would be Ren, Wu-Tang, Nas, Pink Floyd, 21 Pilots, Bob Marley, Outkast, Rage Against the Machine, The Beastie Boys, Sublime and 311. I'm attracted to bass lines, 808s, haunting vocal samples, and genre blending. If a song has a dope beat, gives me goosebumps, or just makes me feel, then I listen. I love artists who don't play by the rules or conform to any box. The ones who wear their hearts on their sleeves and aren't afraid to be themselves. That's who inspires me the most.
And Vexo. He writes, I have so many influences to name them all. My go-to is usually the Avalanches, who are known for being masters of sampling. Some of their records have tens, if not hundreds, of samples, which really showcases how much of an art sampling is. When it comes to hip-hop, I am often inspired by Dilla, Madlib, Ninth Wonder, DJ Premier and many, many others. I also get inspired by the people around me, whether they are family or friends. I am also inspired by people who I consider the very best at what they do, such as Lionel Messi when it comes to football or Harry Mack when it comes to freestyling.
I asked Vintage what else she gets up to, beside beat making. She said, I love painting, dancing, weightlifting, swimming, playing old school video games, and spending time in nature. I'm currently learning Dutch and Scottish Gaelic. I've also been a licensed massage therapist since 2006 and a certified personal trainer since 2017. I want to inspire others to go after their passions in life. I'm 45 and after finding Ren's music last year, I realized I had lost touch with my deep love of music and the creative parts of myself for way too many years. His music reignited my passion for creating art and my deep love of music. It's really been a catalyst for a midlife renaissance and me going after my dreams. It's never too late, or too soon, to do what you love or to learn new things.
And what about Vexo? Same question to him. He said, I participate in many beat-making challenges where communities come together and create something. I am just grateful for the opportunity to do what I love. I work full-time for a software company, but I still manage to allocate plenty of time to music making. I also own a Discord server for beatmakers, where I host challenges and try to keep my community engaged and hungry to find samples and cook something special.
Well, it has been great learning more about our two fantastic producers. I can't thank them enough for donating their beats and their time to this competition. Please do make sure you're subscribed to them both. I've linked to their channels in the video description. Much love.